Good morning, children. Good to see you back. I hope you enjoyed this Navratra festival very nicely and wish you a very belated happy Dashera to all of you. So, let's start again with our chapter, that is land, soil, water, natural vegetation, and wildlife resources. We had seen this chapter, the first part, that is land. Now, we see that land, soil, water, they are abiotic resources, whereas natural vegetation and wildlife resources, they are biotic resources. So we'll just go through very quickly what we have seen in the land. Okay, so when come to land we have seen that we are having only 30% land on the earth. Out of that 30% we use only 30%. The other things, the remaining 70% is sparsely populated or it is uninhabited. Then we had seen the next important point is the uses of land or land uses. Then we had seen what are the factors. They are physical factors and human factors which are responsible for use of land. Then we had seen the division of land. It can be private land or community land. So we had discussed like what is private land, what is community land. Then demand is growing because population is growing, all these things. Then land degradation we had seen. Conservation of land was important point. So all these topics we have gone in much details in our earlier videos. We had seen landslides. We have seen some figures about landslide. Now we'll come to our then we had seen about mitigation, how we can avoid these landslides. Now we come to our next topic, that is soil. For you it is important to understand that soil has 4 different layers. So if I ask you what is the profile of soil or what are the different layers of soil, you should be able to understand it. The first or topmost layer is called as topsoil because it is at the top. It's called topsoil. It is made up of humus and vegetation. So vegetation means plants, trees, all those things. So everything which grows, it is on topsoil and it is rich with humus. You know what is humus? Humus is formed by the decaying remains of plants and animals. Like sometimes what happens, the leaves fall from the trees and they are lying on the earth. Slowly it gets decomposed or decayed and that forms a fine mixture. It mixes with soil and find a fine mixture which you call as humus. This enhances or enriches the soil and it makes it more fertile. That is called as humus. It is topsoil. Then we have second part which we call it subsoil. This is your subsoil, second part, and it is soil with sand, clay and silt. This makes your subsoil. Then we have weathered rock material, which is the third layer, and finally is the parent rock from which the soil is made. Now it takes hundreds of years to make just 1 centimeter of soil. How much it will be 1 centimeter? This much at least. Small, you can see this much. For this much of soil, it takes hundreds of years. So it takes a lot of time. So this is, now it is given here. Soil is the thin layer of grainy substance covering the surface of the earth. Simple. Soil is made up of organic matter, minerals and weathered rocks found on earth. The 4 layers, it has been discussed here. What are the 4 layers? You should remember these 4 layers, very important for you. Okay. Now we'll see how this soil is formed. We're talking about soil formation, but how this soil are formed is also an important thing to understand. So when you talk about soil formation, so there are certain factors because you know there are different kinds of soil present in different areas. Like in Maharashtra, Maharashtra, the type of soil here is black soil. It is not there in Andhra Pradesh or Karnataka or Tamil Nadu in that sense, or any other place. So there are very few so different. What I mean to say is different regions, they have different kind of soil. So there are different regions, different kind of soils, and also the crops grown in this soil are different. Because in black soil in Maharashtra, it is good for the cultivation of sugarcane and cotton. So the farmers here generally they go with sugarcane and cotton. Now they are using they have diversified their agricultural practices, but majorly if you see, they are relying on cotton and sugarcane. So what are the factors? Let's go through this very quickly. In different geographical regions, different soils can be observed. You must have seen red soil, black soil, laterite soil, desert soil, alluvial soil. There are different kinds of soils everywhere in India also. So various geoclimatic regions make the soil distinctions and varied because the climatic factors are different in different geographical areas. Like it is very different in the coastal plains, very different in the desert areas. hilly areas totally different, plateau again different. So we have different geoclimatic regions where we have different kind of soils, and also we have seen different type of soils are suitable for a particular type of crop. Not like we cannot grow maybe we can say apple in Kerala, or we cannot grow coconut in Jammu and Kashmir or Himachal Pradesh. So there are different factors. Now what are the factors how this soil is formed? So the factors are, if you could see here, can we go ahead? Yes. Just a minute. Yeah, now we are ready. So we'll see factors. First is climate. First is climate. So as I said, climate depends, because if it's very hot, very different kind of soil will be there. If like in Meghalaya it is the highest rainfall receiving area, so the kind of soil will be different there. In moderate areas it will be different. So the climatic factors are important part or important factor for soil formation. If they have a different kind of climate, soil formation will be different. Time, like we had seen, it takes hundreds of years to make 1 centimeter of soil. So how much time that soil has taken, that also defines the kind of soil. Parent rock, from which rock it is made, that is also important. Like if it is made from igneous rock or sedimentary rock, or in that case metamorphic rock, so the kind of soil will also be different. Like limestone, it will be a different kind of soil. If it is full of marble or granite, it will be different kind of soil. So it depends. Then relief means which kind of topography is there, whether it is hilly area, whether it's plateau, whether it is a coastal plain, whether it is simple normal plain like northern plains. So which kind of soil, it depends on that. And finally flora, fauna and microorganisms. These are very important in terms of humus formation. So that kind of soil will be different. If there is no fauna, flora or microorganisms, there is no chance that there will be humus, because dead remains of flora and fauna will not be there, and microorganisms not there, so decaying also will not be there. So humus formation is for this topic, humus formation is important. Okay, so this is how the soil is formed. Now we'll talk about degradation of soil. Soil can be degraded, means the quality of soil can come down because of two important factors, that is erosion and depletion of the minerals. The major threat to soil is erosion and depletion. There are two major factors again here also, human factor and natural factor. What are human factors? It is like deforestation. We cut down the forest, so soil erosion is happening at a large scale. Then we have overgrazing. We graze too much that vegetation is so it becomes desertified, which we had seen in land. So that also is an important factor. We use more chemical fertilizers, that leads to depletion of minerals or the fertility of the soil. We use pesticides. Now what are the natural factors? They are rain, continuous landslides, floods. These are factors which are natural, which are not human made. So these both factors, human beings and natural factors, are responsible for degradation of soil. Now here we have given the types of natural threat and human threat. Human threat are deforestation, overgrazing, overuse of chemical fertilizers or pesticides. Natural factors are rainwater, landslides, flood are the factors which leads to degradation of soil. So what we can do here? We can conserve the soil now. So to conserve soil means to protect the soil from erosion or depletion is called as soil conservation. So we can say soil conservation refers to the protection, efficient use of soil and preservation of soil resources. This is what we say as conservation of soil. Yeah, okay. So now we'll go ahead with the ways of conservation of soil. Quickly we can see. First is mulching. What is mulching? So it is given. It is a method in which bare ground. Suppose when you plant trees, if you see when the farmers sow the crops, they are in lines. Their crops will be there like this. Some barren land will be there, and here again crops will be there. So this land is totally open. So because of winds, rainfall, this soil here can get eroded. soil erosion can happen. It is the removal of topsoil. It's called as soil erosion. So this can happen here. So this can be avoided with in the case of mulching. Is the method in which bare ground. Now we had seen two lines of crops. In between there is bare ground. Bare means there is no cover on that ground. Bare ground between plant is covered with a layer of organic matter like straw. It can get decayed and it will form humus. So it is giving us two benefits. On one side it is avoiding the soil erosion. On second side, after getting decayed, it mixes with the soil and it makes it more fertile. It helps to retain soil moisture. Even the moisture also doesn't go out because straw is very dry. So moisture which is there in the land, it is preserved there. So you can see the pictures here for your clear understanding. This is mulching. Can you see here, this bare ground is covered by straw. Here this totally is covered by straw. It has been mixed up, and now here you can see it has been covered with plastic. So what happens? The moisture remains there. Water is very water used here is very less because moisture is inside. It is already wet. The moisture doesn't go outside. Evaporation is not possible because of the cover. So the use of water is very less in these cases. Second, we will see counter barriers. Counter barriers is a method in which stone, grass or soil are used to build barriers along the counters. And trenches. Trenches means small, we can say kind of canals. Canals are made in front of them to collect water. So don't worry, you can see the picture here. You will get clear understanding. Yeah, this is the picture. You see, these are the barriers. Where is the pen? These, they are planted trees, small grass like things. This is barriers, and these are small canals which you call as trenches. So water can retain there. So this is done in small where the slope is there. So when the water comes, it will get stopped. From tunnels it will get outside. That water will not wash away all the soil. Then the next now we had seen mulching and counter barrier. Now we will see counter plowing. Sorry, we will see terrace farming. You know, terrace farming, it is done in northeastern states especially, or in Himachal Pradesh where we have hills. So what they do in terrace farming, they make these lines. Like they make flat. The slope will. What happens generally? A hill is like this. So what they'll do? They'll cut here, and they'll make like this small patches of land where they can do the cultivation. Can you see this in the picture? This is nothing but this is called as terrace farming. Then we have shelter belts. Okay, now we'll have another thing, intercropping. Now we can see here two types of crops. You can see here. Here is one type of crop, here is one type of crop. So they are the land is totally covered now. Like what happens if this crop, if you take a single crop, this land, this part will be sown, this part will be sown, but this part will remain barren, means bare. So where soil erosion can happen. So if you grow some certain other crops here, so it can cover the whole land with vegetation and soil erosion will not occur. Fine. These are all steps. You can. It is very clear for with. It will be very clear to you with the help of these pictures. But you have to just understand the concept of this, and you can write these answers in your own words. Now, counter plowing. What is counter plowing? Suppose, I'll take my pen. Yeah, you know, there are on the earth also, if you see, there are certain counters. There are certain centers are there. But what generally we are trying to say is, suppose if there is a small slope, and if you plow it like this, what will happen? Water will come down. But if you plow it like this, so water will come, stop here. Slowly it will come down, stop here. Slowly it will come down, stop here. So the rate of flow of water will be less, and so the erosion will be less. I think you are confused, but we can see the picture now. It will be very clear to you. Like this. Here the slope, you can see the slope here. But they have done it counter like this. So direct slope, in the slope water will not come directly, because you have counter plowed it, it will stop, then stop, then stop, then stop. So it will be slowed. So erosion will not be there much. Then we have shelter belts. You know what is belt? So what they do, they make a belt of big trees. Here you can see big trees are planted in between. This is done where the winds are very high. Suppose the winds are coming here in a speed, But what happens, because of these trees, they slow down and the crops here will be safe. Also the soil will not get eroded because of the wind, because of this shelter belt. So we call it shelter belts. Then excessive use of fertilizers is also a cause of soil degradation and leads to loss of soil fertility. So we have to carefully use or judicially we should use this fertilizers. If required in small quantities, we should use it, or we should use what we can say our own natural manure and all these things rather than chemical fertilizers. Then use of high yield variety crops is a major concern, because in high yield crop variety you require chemical fertilizers. So you should go for organic farming, where organic manure is used, so that the soil degradation will not be there. So these are the methods of conservation of soil. I hope you understood. If there are any doubts, you can ask me. In next session, we will go with water and the remaining parts of the chapter. Thank you. Have a nice day.